No, I don't think there's any question that they are. They played a 1AA. Not supposed to say 1AA anymore. Football championship division, and they and played them tough. Almost beat them. Had a lead, I think, going into fourth quarter, and then was ahead of West Georgia up until a few minutes, and then Newberry's undefeated in our conference, and Newberry beat them last week. And Mars Hill fumbled. I hadn't finished watching all the game, but I watched half of it, and Mars Hill fumbled at least one time inside the 5-yard line going in, and I think the game was a 2-touchdown game. So yes, they're better than 1-3. Yes.
How do you rebound from a gut-wrenching loss at home?
Well, we rebound with our character and with our heart, and have faith that we, if we do things the right way this week, that we can get right results. If we do things the wrong way, like we did last week, then we get wrong results. And so, and that doesn't mean that it guarantees victory. It just guarantees that you got a clear conscience and a brightness in your eyes that you got a chance to do it. And so that's what we want to do.
What's Mars Hill's biggest? What are they best at? Is it still that running game with Shaq Davis?
Well, he's an exceptional running back, and he's I think 7th in the nation in rushing and averaging over 150 yards a game. And when they can, if they can, they're going to give it to him over and over and over. And then they got a receiver by the name of Dietrich Holmes that is outstanding, and they try to get the ball in his hands as much as possible. And I'm afraid our little old boys are going to have a hard time. They got a fullback that's leading Davis through the hole that may be meaner than anybody I've ever seen. And so our little boys better get geared up to take on some pretty good offensive line and the fullback and some good blocking.
A lot of missed tackles last week. What do you do to correct that?
Well, a lot of missed tackles now for 3 weeks in a row, and needs to be some correction. And most of the time, the correction on missed tackles is, of course, first of all, playing the right fundamentals. Especially of moving your feet. And if you're tired or if you got a little bit of not giving all you got, then you're not going to move your feet like you need to. And so I think it's a deep concern. And tackling is desire. That's all it is. It's fundamentals and desire. It's called the FD approach: fundamentals and desire. And we just gotta we just gotta do better. Gotta tackle better.
There's been some leakage, I guess, some kicks that have been tipped, blocked, etc. What are you doing to correct that?
Well, if you see it again, then I want you to start a petition to fire Coach Sparks, because there's no sense in that. That's something that can be changed. That's something that can be corrected. We're changing some personnel this week. We've had some really injured people in the offensive line, and we didn't want to get them in there and get them twisted up. And but all that's over with. We'll have our best people in there doing it this week.
Did the absence of Brandon Baker affect the team at all last week?
Well, you give away 150 yards a game. That's pretty significant, and that's pretty much what you do without Brandon, because Brandon's going to get it. He's going to get his 100 plus almost every ball game. If we give it to him enough, and so we haven't talked about it, but we've had significant injuries on offense, and then with losing Jamar Neal Saturday, we've had a very significant injury on defense. And of course, we're playing in the secondary. If somebody gets hurt, we don't have anybody to go in for them. Adam Cavalier is next, and so we understand he's got some eligibility left, and we know he's a faux, and so we're going to go with him the next step.
That's my time eating pizza. pizza, not running a 40-yard dash. What you bring up the injury situation. What's the status of Baker and the Eubanks? What are the prospects that you at least get 2 starters back on offense?
Well, we're hopeful on both of them, but yet the kind of injuries they have, you never know. You know, when you start talking about concussion, you start talking about shoulders and knees, you know, and then that's a day-by-day deal. And, you know, we got about 2 or 3 guys in the secondary that I hope's back. We lost 2 tight ends before last week's game, and then lost another one during the game. And we, you know, the last 2 weeks now we've been playing without our top 3 wide receivers, and or 3 out of our top 4, 3 of our top 4 wide receivers, and so playing a freshman there and moved a running back there, and so you know we're patching up pretty good. We just don't have a whole lot of depth, and when you lose key people, it makes it tough.
Is this another chance that we might see Ben Fuller moved out to tight end?
No. He had his chance. No. We'll make another adjustment.
You mentioned at times you weren't happy with practice. Last week you said that after the game. How have you gone about correcting that throughout this week?
Well, we started off yesterday that Coach Sparks was in charge of conditioning running yesterday. And he'll probably be in charge of it again today. So yesterday, before we were through, we ran 1 mile and 3/4 in sprints. And we'll run a whole lot again today. So we got tired at the end of the ball game. We've got to eliminate, you know, you've heard the old saying, when you're tired, it's hard to have courage. And so we promised that we were going to be one of the best conditioned football teams in the country, and you know, because of the injuries and because of some other things, we have backed down a little bit the last couple of weeks. So it's back on.
Marcel brings back everybody on their offensive line, including a stout kid, Nick Allison. What stands out to you about their front 5?
Well, they're very mobile. They're probably they're maybe not hardly as big. Well, I said that, and one of them's 330 and one's 310, I guess, and one's 6'7" and one's 6'6". So, but they're big and they're mobile. They've got 2 or 3 Division I transfers there, and one from North Carolina State and one from South Carolina, I think. And so, you know, they're geared up pretty good on the offensive line.
Defensively, what makes their end Troy Harris an All-American candidate and a preseason All-American?
Well, he makes big plays. He'll get a sack, or he'll knock a fumble loose, or he'll do something that gets defensive lineman attention.